fans gathering on Waveland Avenue, right behind the left field bleachers as we get set for Chicago Cubs baseball on WGN Sports. The sun is out. Good to see. Windy, cool, but sunny here at Wrigley. Reds and Cubs as we welcome Cub fans from all over the country watching on WGN America, America's home for baseball. Hi again, everyone. Bob Brenly and Len Casper with you. The Cubs are trying to end a 6-game losing streak. Scoring runs has been an issue for this club. There are a couple of hot guys in the lineup, however.
Yeah, one we expected to be hot, Starlin Castro, since he was hot all year last year. He's picked right up where he left off. He's third in the National League in hits already this season. Just continues to get the bat on the ball and find holes in the defense. The other guy, a little bit of a surprise because of the way he struggled in spring training. Brian LaHare was declared the opening day starter at first base. Maybe put a little too much pressure on himself in the Cactus League, but since the regular season has started, he's swinging the bat the way we expected.
And got to get the outfielders going. The Cubs, the only team in baseball without a home run from an outfielder. Let's talk about the pitchers today. Paul Mulholland with the new team making his third start, but facing a familiar foe today.
Well, hopefully that familiar foe will get Paul Mulholland going. It's been a rough start to his career here with the Cubs, but he's done well against the Reds in 11 starts. Hopefully this will get him going today.
Right-hander Mike Leake has faced the Cubs more than any other team, and he's had a lot of success.
Yeah, he's a crafty little guy. Went straight from ASU, Arizona State University, to the big leagues. The Cubs have seen an awful lot of Mike Leake.
So Mulholland for the Cubs, Leake for the Reds. As the Cubs look for their first win in over a week, we'll have Chicago Cubs baseball from the friendly confines next. The driver. Pepsi Max, the official soft drink of Major League Baseball. 0 calories, maximum Pepsi taste. The Illinois Lottery. Do you believe in the power of possibility? The Illinois Lottery. Anything's possible. And by Ford, manufacturers of more fuel-efficient vehicles than any other brand. Check them out at your local Ford store or online at localfordstores.com. Chicago Cubs baseball in high definition is brought to you by Xfinity, your home for the most live sports. Now the Cincinnati Reds lineup, they have won back-to-back games for the first time this season. Rookie Zach Cozart leads it off. Drew Stubbs, their hottest hitter. Joey Votto's at first. Brandon Phillips, excellent numbers against Paul Mulholland. You have Ryan Ludwig in left. Scott Rowland at third. Chris Heisey moves from left to right today. Devin Mesoraco had a very good first game of the series yesterday, and Leak, the pitcher, bats ninth.
And let's check out how the Cubs take the field defensively today behind Paul Mulholland. Brought to you by Pepsi Max, the official soft drink of Major League Baseball. 0 calories, maximum Pepsi taste. Blake DeWitt getting a start in left field today. Joe Mather, visible man since spring training. He's getting a start in center field. David DeJesus over in right. Ian Stewart with 4 rockets yesterday. Nothing to show for it. He'll be at third base. Castro and Barney once again make up the double play combo. Brian LaHare over at first base. Steve Clevenger behind the dish today for left-hander Paul Mulholland.
Looking for something different. His first 2 starts, each time out, 4 innings, 6 hits, 6 runs. We are underway. Strike 1 on Zach Cozart. And the 0-1 is low. Scott Barry, Michigan native, will handle the plate. Gary Darling, Jerry Meals, and Lance Barrett, who in my partner's parlance yesterday had a strike zone bigger than the world, is over at third. That'll be a fair ball past a diving Stewart. And Zach Cozart has the leadoff double. Reds scored 4 times off Chris Volstad in the first inning yesterday.
We've talked about Paul Mulholland since the Cubs acquired him. He's a guy that does pitch to contact, but unfortunately a lot of that contact has been right on the button so far this year, including this Zach Cozart double down into the left field corner to start the game. You want weak contact.
Now Drew Stubbs squares to bunt. And that's going to kick foul. Well, you wouldn't believe it. Yesterday was 42 when we started. Today it's 43, but to me it feels about 10 degrees warmer. You've got a wind chill of 37, but I think taking the dampness out of the air has been a huge help.
It's a regular heat wave.
Dusty Baker all bundled up. I like the new specs.
Dusty always was very fashionable with his eyewear.
The Reds yesterday picking up the 10,000th win in franchise history. All but 549 wins coming in the National League. The others in the American Association. Darwin Barney will throw out Stubbs. Cozart at third with 1 out. We want to let our AT&T U-verse viewers in Chicago and around the country on WGN America know that during every Cubs home game this season, you go to channel 780 or HD channel 1780. You can see a special multi-view presentation that shows you all our different live camera angles here at the ballpark. Pretty cool. So if you want to direct along with Skip Ellison, give a look to AT&T U-verse channel 780 or HD channel 1780. Joey Votto with the infield in, facing his nemesis. He's just 3 for 20 against Paul Mulholland in their respective careers. Runner at third, 1 out, just underway in the middle game of this series. Going outside on a fastball at 89.
Big out to get right here. Obviously, anytime you can retire Joey Votto, it's a big out. But we mentioned the numbers for Brandon Phillips in the back of your picture right there. The on-deck hitter against Paul Mulholland. You'd like to get Votto right here and at least set up the option of pitching around Brandon Phillips.
3-1. Votto has always had a keen eye at the plate. walked 110 times last year, leading the National League. Fastball at the knees, 3-2.
Joey Votto may have been thinking that Paul Maholm was going to try to pitch around him. A series of breaking balls off the plate, low and away, but on the 3-1 pitch comes right down Main Street with a fastball. Like Joey Votto was expecting something else.
There is ball 4. Major League leading 14th walk taken by Votto. First and third. Chris Bosio, the pitching coach, looks on, and Brandon Phillips will have his first at bat of the series. He didn't play yesterday. He's been nursing a strained hamstring, and Dusty pulled him out of the lineup because of the cold weather. Still not 100%. He did, however, hit a home run, his first of the year, on Thursday in St. Louis.
Bit of a slow start average-wise for Brandon Phillips. It stays that way for a couple more days.
Lined and past Castro into left center, and the Reds get on the board first. Phillips with his third RBI of the year, and it's 1-0.
Ball was absolutely smoked to shortstop. It looked like Castro had a bead on that ball. It looked like it just eluded his glove right there. I thought he had a chance to make a play and possibly turn that hard hit ball into a double play, but instead the Reds have him at first and second with 1 out and a run on the board.
This is Maholm's third start, and it's the 6th first inning run he has allowed. Now Ryan Ludwig, his first action of the set. He chops it foul to the pull side. Continue to get behind early. And the 0-1 is off the plate inside.
And speaking of early, the sun will definitely be a factor early in the ball game today. You can tell by the shadows of Ian Stewart at third, Starlin Castro at short, and the left fielder Blake DeWitt. Anything hit in the air in that direction, they're going to have to deal with the sun.
Two and one on the veteran Ludwig, who signed as a free agent in January. Swing and a miss on a curveball.
10 games into the season, 35 at bats for Ryan Ludwig. He's yet to ground into a double play, man.
Good note.
Off speed breaking ball that time from Maholm. The curveball a little bit bigger and rounder, a little bit slower than his slider. Ludwig way out in front.
And a real struggle for Ludwig since he left the Cardinals in a trade in 2010. LaHare at the tarp, but it's going to drop in about 5 rows. Still 2-2. You look at his career, Bob. I mean, in St. Louis, 488 games, he hit .280, slugged in the 500s, but just about everywhere else, he's hit under .250 with not nearly as much power. And he swings and misses for the second out.
Perfect example there of what Paul Maholm needs to do to be effective. Once you get ahead, rather than go harder, go softer, softer. Through a couple of breaking pitches in the low 70s, ultimately a changeup off the corner low and away. Ludwig in protect mode up there at the plate, swings right through it.
There's a lot of debate about the idea of protection in a lineup, whether or not it really does help guys in their numbers. But, you know, based on what I told you, there was one guy who hit near him in the St. Louis lineup who didn't hit around him everywhere else. Albert Pujols. Whether 1-0 to Scott Rowland.
Excuse me, Len. Whether you can back it up statistically or not, you have to believe that mentally, as the hitter hitting in front of Albert Pujols, in the back of your mind, you have to expect to get more hittable pitches, knowing that Big Albert is lurking in that on-deck circle.
And I seem to recall Ludwig hit behind him a fair amount as well. Maybe in that cleanup spot with Pujols hitting third. 2-1 to Rowland, who has really not gotten it rolling just yet. 0 for 3 yesterday. Did walk twice, coming in at 159 on the season. The 3-1 pitch, now 3-2.
Once again, in a good hitter's count, rather than try to throw a ball past him, he goes to the straight changeup at 82 miles per hour. Aggressive swing by Scott Rowland, expecting a fastball, and once again, way out in front.
Votto and Phillips will go with this pitch with 2 out. And he got him. Another changeup to end the inning. The Reds get 1. The Cubs are coming up from Wrigley. Pepsi Max, the official soft drink of Major League Baseball. 0 calories, maximum Pepsi taste. DeJesus, Barney, and Castro lead things off. LaHare, Stewart, Clevenger in the middle. Blake DeWitt, excellent numbers against Mike Leake. Joe Mather gets a start at his 3rd different position, with Paul Maholm hitting 9th.
Take a quick look at the Reds defensively today. Kind of puzzling that, well, actually, maybe they have it right. I have Ryan Ludwig in right, Chris Heise in left, but anyway, Drew Stubbs is in center, Scott Rowland at third, Cozart and Phillips up the middle, Joey Votto over at first, Mesoraco behind the plate for right-hander Mike Leake.
And the right-hander ready to work, and then a strike on David DeJesus. As we get a look at Mike Leake's numbers through 2 starts. very familiar with the Cubs as a team. In his major league debut against the Cubs. And this is his 8th career start against the Cubs.
For a 24-year-old, Len, he has quite the arsenal of pitches. He'll sink his fastball. He'll throw a four-seamer. He really has fallen in love with that cut fastball this season. Throws a curve, a changeup, an occasional slider. He has a tremendous feel. He watches hitters and how they react to his pitches and then adjusts accordingly.
The 0-2. Sinker just outside. Well, the good for DeJesus, his on base average is 400. That's right where you want it as a leadoff guy, but he's only slugging 300. That has been a team-wide issue. And that'll be off the glove of Votto. And DeJesus is aboard. Votto did get a glove on it, but couldn't haul it in. Should be a hit.
DeJesus, another Cub hitter who's been stinging the ball lately with very little to show for it. Looked like he was going to get robbed once again. Picks on a middle of the zone fastball and hits a rocket toward that right field corner. Votto could just get a piece of it. David DeJesus on to lead it off for the Cubs.
Brings up Darwin Barney. And a called strike.
Len, I mentioned a lot of the Cubs players watching video in the clubhouse before the ball game today, and Darwin Barney in particular had watched a lot of Mike Leake, not only this season but last season, and he pointed out a couple things that I thought were very interesting. Usually when a right-handed pitcher throws a cut fastball to a right-handed hitter,
that's going to get down, and DeJesus will head to third. First and third with nobody out.
Quickly finish that thought. Darwin Barney noticed that rather than throw that cutter on the outside corner breaking away from a right-hander, Mike Leake was throwing a lot of high inside cutters. Start them at the letters or maybe near the belt and try to break them across to the inside corner, figuring he could get some right-handed hitters either to freeze on that pitch, or if they did swing at it, they were probably going to pull it foul. Something to watch for in the ball game here today. Now, in that game that he was watching on videotape, Ryan Hannigan was the starting catcher. That could possibly make a difference.
Starlin Castro takes a fastball off the outside corner. Back-to-back singles to start the bottom of the first. A pop-up, and Brandon Phillips records the first out. Before Brian LaHare comes up, the Cubs making their second roster move in as many days. Ryan Dempster goes to the disabled list with a strained right quad. They're hoping he'll miss just 2 starts. And speedy Tony Campana added to the roster today, so he's on the Cubs bench. And Randy Wells expected to make the start tomorrow in Dempster's spot. Tony actually hit a home run with Iowa that went over the fence, the first of his career. And he said he didn't even know it was gone until he got to third base. Barney faked towards second, and LaHare lifts one high in the air. This will get DeJesus in with a tying run. Barney also ready to tag as Stubbs and Ludwig converge. Stubbs makes the catch, and a sac fly for LaHare. It's 1-1. As we take a look at today's Illinois Lottery Anything's Possible player, Brian LaHare, with a career year at Iowa last year, led the minors with 38 home runs. That was an Iowa team record. The Anything's Possible players brought to you by the Illinois Lottery, who each day make anything possible.
Near collision out there in left center field. Ryan Ludwig, the veteran, in left field. Drew Stubbs, a younger player in center field, but the rule of thumb is always give way to the center fielder if he calls for it. That time the two Reds outfielders nearly came together.
Brings up Ian Stewart. Barney's still at first. He did tag but did not test Stubbs' arm.
I mentioned Ludwig, the more senior member of the outfield right here. Drew Stubbs, a younger player, but that's a center fielder's ball all the way. If he can call for it and get it, the left fielder has to give way.
You said it. Ian Stewart yesterday hit the ball right on the screws 3 different times. The other time he flied out to the opposite field, but in the box score it said 0 for 4.
I think we saw more high fives in that Cubs dugout for outs yesterday than we've seen high fives for hits in any game. A lot of the Cubs hitters were squaring up pitches yesterday against the Reds pitching staff, but hitting balls right at defenders.
Down the left field line, but Stewart didn't run. That means it's way foul, about 15 feet. And he broke his bat.
He thinks he might have broken his thumb too. Man,
oof.
Cold day once again here at Wrigley Field, and we talked about it yesterday. If you don't square it up on the barrel of the bat, if you hit it out near the end a little bit or down near the handle a little bit, you're going to feel it. Stewart's still trying to shake it out. He should be used to that. He played in Colorado. You see where's that protector on the left thumb area. Might have a pre-existing bone bruise in there, and that could possibly be the injury that's affecting him right now.
One ball and 2 strikes. Swing and a miss to end the inning. The Cubs tie it up, each team with a run in the first. is our email. You see our Facebook and Twitter addresses as well. And make sure you check out our WGN Baseball blog on WGNTV.com. It's brought to you by Jeff Vukovich, nationwide agent serving the area for 33 years for your auto, home, and business insurance needs. Contact Jeff at jeffvuk.com. I've got a post today about the Cubs' disappointing start. And also, check out our first installment of Stats Sunday, as we will talk about on-base percentage and slugging percentage during tomorrow's broadcast. I'll give you some interesting comparisons. Chris Heisey behind in the count at 1-2.
I kind of boxed up the Reds lineup when we were giving you their alignment defensively. Chris Heisey played left field yesterday. We assumed he would play left field again today, and Ryan Ludwig would be positioned in right. We've said many times in the past, I personally feel Ryan Ludwig is the best visiting right fielder I've ever seen here at Wrigley Field. But in today's lineup, Ryan Ludwig is manning left field, Chris Heisey in right. My bad.
So Heisey now has made starts at all three outfield positions. This is the first day Jay Bruce has not started for the Reds. Out into center, Joe Mather coming over to his left to make the catch. The best season ticket option in the city continues to be the PNC Club of Chicago. Tickets in this exclusive club come with added benefits, including VIP parking. Your guests will enjoy an all-inclusive top-shelf bar and gourmet food in a climate-controlled suite with celebrities and former Cub players. For more information, contact the Premier Sales Team at 773-404-4200 or go to Cubs.com/suites. Devin Mesoraco reached base 4 times yesterday, couple of singles, couple of walks, and he lines to Joe Mather. Two quick outs.
Once again, Mather positioned perfectly in center field, was playing Mesoraco several steps to the pull side. That ball hit directly at him out there in center field. 2 quick outs here in the top half of the second.
Pretty good hitting pitcher, Mike Leake. He's at .262 in his career. Outside corner, 1-1.
We talked about the wide zone of Lance Barrett behind the plate yesterday. That pitch a little bit off that outside corner, but gets the call from Scott Berry nonetheless.
Omahalem is from Greenwood, Mississippi. That one is line foul down the left field line. Omahalem attended Mississippi State. Always keep the beverage, grabbing the ball. And he got him. That's 5 in a row sent down by Omahalem. Along with Dale Swaim, log on to WGNTV.com right now and click on the WGN Sports Game Zone banner to connect to all the up-to-the-minute stats and info while watching at home. Game Zone is sponsored by The Great Escape, pools, patio sets, play sets, hot tubs, and more. Steve Clevenger getting the start behind the plate. Cubs with a lot of lefties in the lineup today. And Dale Swaim talked about his philosophy on a day like this as Clevenger pulls one into right for a leadoff single. Sometimes you want to save some balance, so to speak, on your bench. But he said, you know, with Aroldis Chapman and Sean Marshall in particular today, Bob, he said, you really need to do damage against the starter. So some days are different in terms of your lineup construction, and Dale decided to go with a bunch of lefties today. He does have Tony Campana on his bench, everybody else from the right side.
You bring up a great point. If a team has a well-balanced and strong bullpen, righties and lefties, situational guys for both right-handed and left-handed hitters, you better take your best shot against the starter. Run the guys out there that you think give you the best chance to get off to an early lead or get you a lead before the opposing manager can get into his bullpen. Other days against a tough starting pitcher, you might set your lineup up a little differently, anticipating some matchups late in the game.
High one bouncer, leak will underhand to Votto to get DeWitt. That works like a bunt.
DeWitt pounded that ball right off of home plate, got that trampoline effect, the high bouncer to the right side of the field. Plenty of time for Clevenger to advance on to second base. I was kind of hoping Mike Leake would lose that ground ball in the sun there, but you mentioned Leake, a good hitter. He's also a very good fielder.
Joe Mather with a runner at second. The pitcher Mahalam on deck. This is a key at bat for the Cubs this inning. Two balls, no strikes. That is a pitcher's strike right on the outside corner. Well, if every pitcher were 2-0 and could throw that pitch, he'd be back in every count.
Nobody'd ever hit, yeah. Just about to say, Len, Joe Mather 2 for 12 in the early going this season. You think back to the Cactus League, Joe Mather was getting 12 at bats every 3 days in spring training.
Oh, another one.
This is what hitters and pitchers call painting the corner. Ball starts just a little bit off of the outside corner, has just enough movement to nip the edge of the outside corner.
Like almost a BP fastball. 83 miles an hour. Sets up a 2-2 pitch, and it's pulled foul on the ground.
I mentioned it early on, Len. Mike Leake, well beyond his years with his feel for pitching out there on the mound. Add a little, subtract a little, make your breaking ball a little bit bigger. Change speeds on all of your pitches. You can see why the Reds like him as much as they do.
Another 2-2, and this one is in the dirt, blocked by Mesoraco. Spent a little time in the minors last year after making the opening day rotation, but that has been his only time in the minors. Bob mentioned he went directly from being drafted to the majors the following year. Out into left center, well hit. And the Cubs will get the lead as Joe Mather on a 3-2 pitch doubles into left center field. It's 2-1.
Good start to the afternoon offensively for Joe Mather. A tough at bat, but finally Leake makes a mistake up and out over the plate. With that tremendous plate coverage that Joe Mather has, he's able to reach out, hook that pitch on the outer third of the plate back to left center field for an RBI double.
You like to see the bench guys make some things happen. Bad throw by Leake. That'll be an error on him as Mather ends up at third.
Feed by Mike Leake, but a horrible throw. Spikes it in the dirt to Zach Cozart. Gets by on into center field. Not a lot of room there. That was the daylight play. You could see Cozart flashed his glove. If the pitcher sees the palm of the glove as that infielder's breaking, that means I want you to throw back here.
Swing and a miss.
Didn't look like Mather had that big of lead at second base.
Infield in. Leake goes from the wind. Foul tip, strike two. Well, Holland with new life. That was close. Held up.
Another new life.
Barrett made the safe call. Nice day in the sun. A little cool. Just throw a jacket on. And a huge crowd here at Wrigley Field. Got him that time.
Wrigleyville Rooftops has premier seating for up to 200 guests for corporate gatherings, family reunions, and bachelor or bachelorette parties. Individual and group tickets are available for all games. For more details, go to www.wrigleyvillerooftops.com or call 773-248-OOF.
Two outs, it's to Jesus with Mather still at third. David singled and scored the Cubs' first run. And he lines one into center to make it 3-1. De Jesus is 2 for 2.
It's such a hard thing, Len, as a hitter, to stick with the game plan when you're not getting results. I mentioned David DeJesus, among many Cubs hitters, have been swinging the bat well lately, just not getting results. The hardest thing you can do is just keep sticking with the game plan. Keep hitting the ball hard. Eventually they're going to start to find some holes, and David DeJesus with a couple of base hits already here in the second inning.
The other thing this early lead does, it allows Dale Swaim to play the type of ball he likes to play, and that is aggressively on the bases. Darwin Barney shoots that one into the left field corner. DeJesus will score, and Barney will have a double. A 3-run second.
Darwin Barney's approach maybe a little more unorthodox than most. You'll see him really open up his front side. Hip, front hip, left shoulder all open up. This time he's able to keep it fair down into that left field corner. He has been a hitting machine as well. Top two guys are 4 for 4 here in the second inning.
Pitching coach Brian Price out to talk it over with his starter. Starlin Castro for the second time. He popped out to second.
You saw Darwin Barney looking to his left, talking to Brandon Phillips, the Red second baseman. You remember last year in Cincinnati, we did a pregame interview with Darwin Barney.
Starlin Castro out of the deep left. Twisting and turning is Ryan Ludwig. And he can't catch it. And Barney will score. Castro trying to make third. The throw there. Not in time. Single, double, triple with 2 outs, and the Cubs have a 5-1 lead.
But back-to-back days, Starlin Castro has hit drives to left field that on any normal day would be way out of Wrigley Field. Talk about Ryan Ludwig and what a great fielder he is in right here at Wrigley. Had some troubles with that ball in left, however, and Castro in on his belly with an RBI triple. That ball Starlin Castro hit to left field yesterday. It might have gone across Waveland Avenue. He absolutely crushed a ball that just died on the warning track because of that gusting wind blowing straight in from left field.
And Lahair lofting to left. Mike Leake, in his 8th career start against the Cubs, has allowed more runs than in any previous outing.
Brought to you by Bud Light. It's the sure sign of a good time. Here we go.
Well, that was sure a good time. Yeah. The bottom of the second. The Cubs needed it desperately. Having lost 6 in a row and really struggling to string hits together. They get 4 against Mike Leake, who had not allowed more than 3 runs in any previous start against the Cubs. We'll see how Paul Maholm now can work with a 4-run advantage. Second time through the order. Cozart doubled and scored in the opening inning.
Paul
Rookie starter at short, Zach Cozart.
Excuse me, Len. I was just going to say Paul Maholm should just keep doing what he's done up to this point of the game. He's done a nice job of changing speeds, mixing up his pitches, and keeping his fastball out of the middle of the plate.
Here's his 0-2 in the dirt on a curve. Cozart coming off a couple of surgeries. Tommy John on his left elbow, right ankle surgery as well. We got Ole Miss against Mississippi State. Cozart went to the University of Mississippi, but State beats him this time. 4 strikeouts for Maholm.
Looks like he's got a real good curveball working today. We've seen the good straight changeup. That's the harder slider down and into Cozart that time. Just keep mixing them up.
I am told when Ole Miss meets Mississippi State in football, it's called the Egg Bowl.
The Egg Bowl.
Yeah.
Okay.
Strike on Drew Stubbs.
Mississippi State has produced some really good ball players over the years, Len. One of them sitting a few booths over to our left, working on Reds radio with Marty Brenneman. The gentleman on your right, Jeff Brantley. They call him a cowboy. Pitched for these Reds, pitched for the San Francisco Giants. Was a teammate of Will Clark's at Mississippi State back in the day. Drew Stubbs here from the University of Texas, and in the next booth you've got Keith Moreland.
You got it all covered.
All kinds of connections between the booth and the field today.
Fastball inside and a full count, 3-2. Maholm working with a nice rhythm here. Joe Mather drifting in. Maholm allowed 3 of the first 4 hitters of the game to reach, but since then has retired 7 straight, including 4 strikeouts.
It's This is just how you like to face Joey Votto. 2 outs, nobody on base.
I don't know if Joey owns a home in Cincinnati. He's from Toronto, but he knows where he's going to be for a while. He has 12 guaranteed years after signing a 10-year extension, and the 12 guaranteed, the most in Major League history.
He could have several homes in Cincinnati if he
could.
Chose to do so.
That extension was worth $225 million. Blake DeWitt in left, and Maholm shuts him down 1-2-3 in the 3rd. Cubs lead 5-1. is back to work. Ian Stewart takes ball one. Three other early games today around baseball. The Rangers jumped all over Rick Porcello. Only went 1 inning. Gave up 9 runs on 10 hits, 8 earned. It's 9-0 Texas in the 3rd inning. Josh Hamilton with a first inning 3-run homer. We were talking yesterday about that powerhouse in Arlington. And Stewart bounces out.
Ian Kinsler was 2 for 2 with 2 runs driven in and a run scored in the 1st inning.
Clevenger. Deep to right, but it's going to be caught on the warning track by Heisey. Well, I don't know if you can top this. I think I've referred to it before, but I once saw Johnny Damon of the Boston Red Sox have a single, double, and triple in the 1st inning. So Red Sox scored 14 runs. How about 3 times he batted in the 1st inning? And I don't believe he hit a home run that day. No cycle. Lake DeWitt. Good wood on it, but it's going to be Stubbs in left center, and Leake trying to settle in after giving up 4 in the 2nd. They go 1, 2, 3 in the 3rd. Reds early on 5-1. Brandon Phillips with an RBI single his first time up, and he takes a good curveball for a strike. Nationals hosting the Marlins today, scoreless in the bottom of the fourth. Anibal Sanchez and Steven Strasburg pitching well. A drop by Castro, and Phillips is just not running well. In fact, he looked to me like he was going about 60 to 70% down the line because of that strained hamstring. But he's going to be safe.
That's where it helps defensively to know what the opposing team is capable of doing. We mentioned it yesterday. Brandon Phillips really bothered by that sore leg. Castro had a little more time than he realized. He's played it off the heel of the glove. Trickles out into the outfield grass for an error.
Castro has already made 6 errors. This is his 15th game. Continue to get asked by people, should they move him to third or to second? How much patience are they going to have with him at short? He's got to take his lumps. He's the best athlete on the team. He's got a good arm, quick feet. He's the captain of the infield. I mean, you watch him catch pop-ups. Anything up in the air, he can catch it anywhere in the field. It's a tough position to play. There are occasional lapses of concentration, but boy, Bob, we got to keep reminding people he's 22. And hopefully by dealing with all these issues now when he's 25, he won't make those mistakes. As Ludwig is out, 1 away. Tickets are available now for the 2012 Cubs season, including the series against the division rival Cardinals this Monday through Wednesday. To purchase tickets, visit Cubs.com, call 1-800-THE-CUBS, or visit the Wrigley Field box office.
And we know for a fact how hard the coaching staff has been working with Starlin Castro, not only this year but last year, in spring training the last couple of years, and we have seen improvements. But I think it's just a matter of more repetitions, more game experience. Get to the point where you're not thinking about the things you worked on earlier in the day as you're going after a ground ball in a game. Ideally, you get to the point where it's all just instinctive. You position yourself properly depending on the pitcher and the hitter. When the ball's put into play, you don't think about your rhythm. You don't think about where are my feet, where are my hands, what should I do on this ball. You just go to the ball and do what you have to do without thinking. And Starlin is still working toward that end.
A couple of former big league shortstops have worked very closely with him. The manager Dale Swaim and Pat Listash. Castro will dive, and the flip out at second. Good timing, Star. What range? Now, he knew Phillips isn't running well, so he had a little extra time, but that's a great play.
It's actually a little tougher when the ball is slowly hit. He had to take 3 or 4 extra steps just to catch up to that one up the middle of the field. Couldn't get much on that backhanded toss. You could see his bare hand slid through the dirt. Probably had a handful of dirt between his palm and the ball as he picked it up, but able to shovel onto Barney just in time for the force.
Fair ball bounced past Stewart into left. And the throw will be cut off by Castro. And also on the play, Heisey moving up to second.
Heisey really spanked that ball past a drawn-in Ian Stewart at third base. This play right here, we've talked to Dale Swaim about that particular play. Runner at first base, a ball hit the left field. The runner turns the corner at second. It's hard to convince a left fielder not to throw to third base. We're going to intentionally walk Mesoraco to get the pitcher Mike Leake up there. I mean, we've seen Soriano do it several times in his time here in Chicago. We see left fielders all around baseball do it. It's right in front of you. The base is right there at third. The runner's trying to get to third. I'm going to throw him out. Well, no, you're not. Not most of the time. Most of the time, you're much better served to throw that ball to second base, hold that runner at first.
He was credited with a double. They will load him up. Pitch to Leak.
And it's not just a perception of fans out there on that play. Dale Swaim has numbers to back it up.
Yes, he does.
But it's such an ego thing when you pick up that ball in left field and you see that runner, what we call running right in your face. You want to gun him out at third base and show him that he made a mistake in trying to make it first to third on a ball hit to left field. The proper play is to get it back into second.
Three on, 2 outs. And the pitch to Leak. Bounce to Stewart. He'll pick it up and he'll beat Chris Heisey to third base. They leave him loaded. It's still 5-1 Cubs as we go to the bottom of the fourth. Here on WGN. 1 o'clock for the leadoff man tomorrow on WGN. Cardinals and Cubs coming up Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Ford manufacturers of more fuel efficient vehicles than any other brand. Check them out at your local Ford store or online at localfordstores.com. 8-9-1 for the Cubs. A little tapper as Leak quickly got off the mound. He'll tag Joe Mather.
I mentioned earlier, good hitter, good fielder. Watch how securely he gets this ball. He scoops it up in his glove, but then gets it in his bare hand to make sure he's got a real good grip on it as Mather goes streaking past. Ideally what you do on tag plays at the plate as well. You get the ball, you put it in your bare hand, and you use your glove to just shield your bare hand from the base runner.
One and two on Mahalam. Swing and a miss for strike three. mentioned the Nationals hosting the Marlins today. They beat Carlos Zambrano last night 2-0. So Z's made 3 starts. He has a 2.84 ERA with Miami, but doesn't have a win. National staff with a 2.38 earned run average. Again, they have Steven Strasburg on the mound today. Here's the 0-1 to DeJesus. He broke his bat. Phillips will drift out into shallow right, and that's the inning. So Leake has settled in. He's retired 7 straight since the Castro triple. Third time through now for Paul Maholm. Zach Cozart. It's a bounding ball that backs up Barney. As we continue our look around the major leagues. Saturday, April 21st. Yesterday, on Friday, A-Rod moved past Ken Griffey Jr. with his 631st home run. Yankees spoiled the Red Sox party. The Blue Jays turned to triple play for the first time since 1979, and the Phillies just have dominated the Padres in San Diego. They're 24-4 at Petco Park after a 4-1 win late last night. Also, speaking of the Yankees, Andy Pettitte, because of a threat of rain, did not face the Daytona Cubs last night. And Michael Pineda, who's on the DL, had a setback, dealing with shoulder issues. Safe at first. Stubbs with an infield hit as he beat the throw by Castro. An error, rather, on Castro. It's his second error in as many innings.
Picked the wrong guy to mishandle the ball. Stubbs gets down that line extremely well. Long strides, good speed.
Ooh, really close.
The other angle, it looked like Stubbs was safe. From that angle, it looked like they may have had him. Either way, reaches first on the second error in 2 innings by Starlin Castro.
1-0 on Joey Votto. Pineda was supposed to throw in an extended spring game, but did not happen. Some weakness in his shoulder. And Daytona ended its 5-game losing streak. Not having to face Andy Pettitte was a good thing. They beat Tampa 9-2.
Bad news for the Brewers. Their number 5 starter, Chris Narveson, arguably one of the best number 5 starters in baseball, with a partially torn rotator cuff. Marco Estrada taking the ball for the Brewers tonight in his place in the rotation.
Brewers lost 4-3 last night. Kadire with the game-winning hit off John Axford in the 9th. Chika Aoki hit one of 2 inside the park home runs in the big leagues last night. It was his first major league homer. Full count, 3-2. With Brandon Phillips on deck. This is by far the best we've seen Paul Maholm in his 3 Cubs starts. Out at first. Well, that helps. So Maholm picks off Drew Stubbs.
Boy, that is one of the cardinal no-nos of base running. You know you're going to run on the 3-2 pitch with Joey Votto at the plate, a guy that rarely strikes out. But as a base runner, you play it like a hit and run. You have to make sure that pitcher commits to home plate before you break to second.
And Votto strikes out, and just like that, the inning is over. Halfway through the 5th, 5-1 Cubs. Leading 5-1. Paul Maholm helping his own cause by picking off Drew Stubbs and then striking out Joey Votto. Whether or not Mike Leake gets back into this game, he is providing a very valuable service to his manager. Sam LeCure got up briefly in the second inning. We often talk in those spots, Bob, about how difficult it is for a manager to decide, does this guy have it today or not? Is he going to get it back? And this will be caught by Heisey, and Leake has been able to recover and at least give the Reds some innings today. Stay tuned for the 7th inning stretch coming up a little later, brought to you by Captain Morgan. Raise your glass, always in moderation, to life, love, and loot. And Patrick will handle the stretch. And a start like this for Leake will also make Dusty down the road feel confident that if he struggles again early, that at least he has the ability to bounce back.
He's got it in his arsenal to be able to start poorly but yet right the ship quickly and keep you in a ball game. The cutter at 88 right on the outside corner to Starlin Castro. I mentioned at the top of the show that he'd been throwing a lot of cutters this year, more cutters than he did last season, but he started this ball game throwing a lot of four-seamers and two-seam sinking fastballs like that one right there off the inside corner. It could be just trying to outsmart the Cubs hitters who, as I mentioned, were watching a lot of videotape, looking at the advanced scouting reports. I'm sure they saw that Mike Leake was featuring a lot of cutters, and Starlin Castro lines that cutter into right field. Heisey has no idea where it is.
Heisey's fortunate that ball didn't get past him, or Castro may have scored. As it is, it's a double.
Heisey had some problems with the ball in the warning track in left field yesterday, mostly because of that gusting wind. This one a sinking line drive. It looked like he actually took it off the side of his neck or his upper chest area to knock it down. He didn't initially know where the ball was. Castro not running hard out of the box. That's a habit that's going to have to be nipped in the bud.
You saw Dave McKay frantically waving him around first.
Occasionally we'll talk about a player who's having a bad day at the plate and he takes it out to his defensive position with him. Well, Castro is having a rough day defensively. You hope it doesn't rub off on his offense. He hit the ball hard into right field, which is a really good thing. Now you got to run.
LaHare pulls it foul just in front of Dave McKay. LaHare 0 for 1 with a sac fly. Came in a 9-game hitting streak. It's a new single season career best. He had a 10-gamer, but that was between 08 and 2011. How about a 4-season hitting streak? It was only 10 games. Mariners and Cubs. Long look by Mike Leake. It's a sign from
Great coverage that time by Brian LaHare just to stay alive. Borderline pitch low and away. Too close in Brian's estimation to take, but not really good enough to hit hard. Fouled it off. At least one more pitch in the sequence here. Leak moving the ball in and out against Brian LaHare in this at bat. 3 on the inner part of the plate, 3 on the outer side of the plate. We look at those pitch tracks, and depending on the hitter, sometimes it'll be in and out, other times it'll be up and down. The guy's a real good high ball hitter. They may show him a pitch up above the top of the strike zone and then go back down. But obviously with Brian LaHare, the Reds feel that the way to go is in and out. Put him in a rocking chair. Pitches inside, back him off the plate. Pitches away, get him leaning out over the plate. Hopefully Brian will get that rocking chair in the right place at the right time.
Another 2-2 is inside. It's Ian Stewart on deck. Mentioned Mike Leake went to Arizona State, born in San Diego. First player to go directly to the majors since Xavier Nady did it in 2000. Just walked LaHare.
Mike Leake was the 3rd player from Arizona State University to go straight from college to the big leagues. Go all the way back to 1973. A right-handed pitcher named Eddie Bain did the same thing. And also, best third baseman during my playing days, Bob Horner, went straight from ASU to the big leagues.
Castro dancing around out at second, so Leake steps off. Leake was the National Player of the Year, according to the American Baseball Coaches Association, in 2009 as a junior at ASU.
Not only that, but going back a little further, Len, when he was at Fallbrook High School out in Southern California, he was 4-time All-Avocado League honoree, including the Avocado League Cy Young Award.
Runners go, and a line out. That would have been a triple play had there been no outs, but Phillips will flip to Votto to end the inning. Still 5-1 Cubs at the end of 5. Nothing since, and that's okay if you're a Cub fan because your team's leading 5-1. Paul Maholm looking for his first win in a while. The last time he won a big league game, it was against the Cubs on July 10th of last year with the Pirates. He gets Brandon Phillips on a ground out.
What has really helped over the last 3 or 4 innings, Len, it seems like he gets at least 1 out per inning on 1 pitch. Keeping that pitch count down. Runners off the bases. I just can't talk enough about his ability to mix pitches and change speeds today. It's something that the opposing hitters just didn't give him an opportunity to do in his first couple starts this year. He took advantage of everything he threw close to the strike zone.
Low for a ball to Ludwig. Bob, we were invited to a wedding.
Well,
and we missed it, but we want to congratulate Sarah Jeanette Minder and Mr. Sean Nelson Harness, who were married on March 24th in Springfield. We missed hors d'oeuvres and dancing. Thank you for the invite. We were in Mesa, Arizona for spring training, but congratulations. 2 down here in the 6th.
And of course, Sean will receive the same advice that we give to all recently married gentlemen. Practice this phrase and use it often, as I know you will. Yes, dear, you're right. I'm sorry.
Scott Rowland, strike 1. Curveball inside. Johnny Cueto will go for the Reds tomorrow. You're on WGN, and Randy Wells will take the spot of Ryan Dempster, who's on the disabled list with a sore quad. That will get out of play. That doesn't sound like a bad injury, but Cubs don't want to take any chances with their #1 starter, who's gotten off to a very good start. I talked to Ryan. He felt it in a side session after his last start, and I asked him, I said, could it have been on the throwing error when he fielded that ball? It would have been the back leg. He said possibly, but it's not an area or an issue that he's had in the past. So hopefully just 2 starts and he's back. And Rowland turns on this one and hits it foul to left. Bob, I know Randy was very disappointed to be sent down to AAA Iowa near the end of spring training, but went down, did his job, and here he is back in the big leagues. Tomorrow the Cubs will have to make another roster move to accommodate him as Rowland rolls it into center to keep the inning alive.
Well, never an easy thing for a guy that's had a measure of success at the big league level, and you feel like you belong, you feel like there's a place for you on the pitching staff, but for whatever reason you find yourself back in the minor leagues. That's never something anybody wants to happen, but he took it the right way, went down there, worked on the things he needed to improve upon, and hopefully we'll see a much improved Randy Wells take the ball here tomorrow.
Chris Heisey with the infield back shows bunt and takes ball 1. Change up outside and Clevenger will head out. Want to see a Cubs game from the front row at Wrigley Field? Now you can. Visit Cubs.com and click on the CBOE front row seats auction to bid on tickets in the front row behind home plate and along the first base line. Front row seats will be auctioned off to every game all season long. Don't miss your chance. Go to Cubs.com and check out the CBOE Front Row Seats auction today. I don't know if I've ever seen this, Bob. A reliever with a, it's not really a sweatshirt. It's kind of a
what that is.
Three-quarter sleeve pullover of some kind. Well, LeCure has been throwing off and on. I guess he just wanted to stay warm while he threw. Ball 4 to bring up Mesoraco, and the reason LeCure is throwing is now the pitcher spot will be on deck. And with that, Chris Bosio is going to get on the phone. Lester Strode telling James Russell, take off that jacket, grab a glove, and a ball.
Right now it looks like Todd Frazier, a right-handed hitter that's come out into the on-deck circle. Of course, for me, the most dangerous pinch hitter the Reds have available today is a left-handed hitter, Jay Bruce, and perhaps that's why James Russell is the relief pitcher cranking it up. They just want to make sure Jay Bruce stays on that bench.
Out on Sheffield, looking in through the knothole. Bouncer to Castro. He will flip to Barney, and the Reds leave 2. Still 5-1 in the 6th. Box score for a limited time. Get incredible lease deals on the 2011 BMW 3 Series. Visit ChicagolandBMW.com for more information. Top of the order, really getting it done today. Combining for 6 hits. Steve Clevenger swats one foul. We're in the bottom of the 6th, and the Cubs lead 5-1. Looking for their first win since a week ago Friday. into center and a base hit.
His manager Dale Swain called Steve Clevenger's swing slump proof.
Yep.
He doesn't try to overpower the ball. He doesn't try to pull everything that's thrown up there. He just puts the barrel of the bat on the ball and hits it where it's pitched. We saw a lot of his hits in the early part of the season come to the opposite field. But today, getting some pitches on the middle of the plate and the inside part of the plate, we've seen him turn on a few pitches.
Blake DeWitt in the air to center, and Stubbs will catch this one. Well, let's get to know the 26-year-old left-handed hitting catcher Steve Clevenger from Baltimore, Maryland. He went to Mount St. Joseph. He was a teammate of White Sox righty Gavin Floyd. Bounced around in college, ended up at Chipola Junior College before being drafted by the Cubs. His favorite Oriole was Joe Orsulak because he was a left-handed hitter.
Yeah.
He was a freshman when Gavin Floyd was a senior in high school. As Mather with a fly ball. It's been a busy inning for Drew Stubbs. He makes a catch on the move. Clevenger will get back to the bag, and now he's going to hold as that ball got past Votto. Yeah, when Gavin Floyd pitched, Clevenger played right, and then when Floyd played right, Clevenger played center. His catch by Stubbs.
Ball briefly gets away from Joey Votto, but Mesoraco and Mike Leake right there to back up the play. Clevenger has to hold it first. One thing we didn't show you on that graphic on Steve Clevenger was the fact that he has hit everywhere he's been in the Cubs system. A career .308 hitter in the minor leagues, and just continues to spray base hits all over the field here at the big league level.
Here's Tony Campana. Takes a called strike. He was called up from Iowa today to replace Ryan Dempster on the active roster. Was hitting .304 in 14 games at Iowa and leading the Pacific Coast League with 8 steals. He spent much of last year with the Cubs, 24 steals in 95 games. The Tony Conigliaro Award for perseverance. And he lines it into center, hitting 1,000 in the big leagues this season.
It's one of those situations, Len, you wish there was a clause in the rule book that says you could flip runners on the bases. You'd much rather have Tony Campana at second base and Steve Clevenger at first, but it's exactly the opposite right now.
It's Logan Ondrusek, right-hander up for the Reds.
In the open of the show, we talked about Brian LaHare and the fact that maybe he put a little bit too much pressure on himself when he was declared the opening day first baseman. I think Tony Campana fell into that same category too. Really put a lot of pressure on himself down in the Cactus League, and has really settled in since the regular season began.
So Ondrusek will replace Leake. 2 on and 2 down here in the 6th. And the Cubs leading the Reds 5-1. A Libertyville Chevrolet for its support of the Libertyville Little League. Libertyville Chevrolet and your Chicagoland and Northwest Indiana dealers support over 30,000 young ball players in their communities through the Chevy Youth Baseball program. These local Chevy dealers provide leagues with equipment kits, instructional clinics, and financial support. From the big leagues to the youth leagues, Chevy is truly the official vehicle of baseball. 8th appearance already for the very busy Logan Ondrusek.
Fastball, cutter, curveball combination from Ondrusek. He also has a split finger that he rarely uses as an off-speed pitch.
Two on, two down for De Jesus. Slide step in the pitch is outside. Or ball one.
Looking at the Reds lineup, Ondrusek, you would assume just in the ball game to get one out. His spot is due to lead off top half of the 7th inning.
Two and 0. Alfredo Simon up in the Reds pen. Back up our way, just below our broadcast booth. I can read backwards. It looks like a birthday party. You are marveling at my ability to read backwards.
I marvel at your abilities every day.
Bounce to Votto. And we are through 6 at Wrigley Field. Middle game of this series, and the Cubs lead 5-1. The Cubs tied it in the first with 1 and then took the lead on 5 hits, 4 runs in the 2nd inning. Visit your local Chicagoland Honda dealer today and test drive a 2012 Honda Accord. Campana stays in for Mather in center. The pitcher's spot now has moved around as Mather goes to left. So Blake DeWitt is out. The pitcher goes in that 7th spot. And here's James Russell. And nice to see the Cubs bullpen partner pitching with a lead here late. A 4-run cushion as he'll face pinch hitter Todd Frazier. Frazier with a pinch hit triple in game 1. An RBI hit at that. High, deep drive. Tony Campana underneath. And he couldn't make the catch. Lost it in the sun. And Frazier standing at second base. It's going to be a double on a ball that should be caught, but I guess you can't catch what you can't see. See his shadow there. I mean, that ball is right in the sun. He had his sunglasses on, but couldn't make the catch.
That's where you'd like to see a little more communication. It doesn't appear like Tony is saying anything right there. Joe Mather was close enough to the vicinity, and that ball was high enough in the air. Mather had a little better angle on the sun coming over from left field, but it didn't appear like there was any communication at all that time between the two Cubs outfielders.
That ball was hit a ton. The wind kept it in, and the sun got it to the turf.
Just start screaming help. I can't see it.
The 0-1 to Cozart is off the plate outside. This might have been a matchup inning previously for Dale Swain, but with the way the bullpen is configured at the moment, it looks like Russell just gets the 7th. Probably Rafael Dolis the 8th. I think he would consider getting Carlos Marmol up in the 8th should there be any trouble as well. Full count, 3-2. Drew Stubbs next.
So we talked about many times, partner, sometimes the save in a ball game, although right now it's not a save situation anyway, but sometimes it comes before the 9th inning. Right now you're in a situation where you have to work your way through the middle of this Reds lineup. You got Joey Votto, Brandon Phillips, and Ryan Ludwig, some veteran RBI caliber hitters.
Pan and DeJesus getting together, and it drops in. Second and third. That's a double for Cozart.
Obviously, the ball not hit particularly well off the bat of Cozart. Got jammed a little bit. That ball was dying. The wind was pushing it away from Campana. DeJesus goes down to a knee to try to slide to protect against a collision there. Neither Cubs outfielder could come up with it.
Here's a battle of the Longhorns. James Russell against Drew Stubbs. Cubs will play their infield back. They need to get an out here. Lead by 4 as the Reds have 2 in scoring position. Ball 1. Line to Castro, and the runners hold. Out number 1. Funny game, isn't it? That's the best hit ball of the inning, and it's the first out.
I can think of some other names for it other than funny, but yeah, a little blooper hit to shallow right center, goes for a double. A fly ball in the sun goes for a double. A rocket line drive goes for an out.
Joey Votto. Ball 1. Slider on the outside corner. 1-1.
Joey Votto usually a little more likely to go to the opposite field against a left-handed pitcher.
He's trying to do it right there. 1-2. The NL MVP from 2 years ago. Should add, as we were getting to know Steve Clevenger, and he's going to head out to the mound. See, Joey Votto has been deadly in this spot. Clevenger started his high school career in the outfield. He would eventually move to shortstop, played there in college. Drafted by the Cubs and eventually became a catcher. Swing and a miss. So Russell gets Stubbs on the line out. Votto on the strikeout. He's 1 out away from a total escape here in the 7th.
Big leap of faith there. Everything away with breaking pitches. Comes back with the 5th pitch of the sequence, a fastball inside part of the plate. You got to have some guts to make that pitch to Joey Votto with runners on base, and James Russell blows it right by one of the best hitters in the league.
Phillips has knocked in a run with a single, reached on an error, and grounded out. Right-hander Sean Camp is up. That's the other option. You go with a veteran. You mentioned Dolis as a possibility here late.
Rare straight changeup that time from James Russell. They've gotten Brandon Phillips to chase the first pitch in the sequence a couple times today on off-speed pitches. Seen too many straight changeups from James Russell, period.
Foul back.
Defensively in the infield, the Cubs can probably all play a step or two deeper than normal. Darwin Barney took it to an extreme. He's out in shallow right center field. We saw Brandon Phillips laboring down that first baseline back in the 6th inning.
He wanted to walk around the bases with that swing.
That reminds me of some of the swings I used to take in this ballpark with the wind blowing out. Swing straight up.
Big crowd cheering on James Russell. His 1-2 pitch buried in the dirt. Ludwig on deck. Reds with back-to-back doubles to start the inning. Russell trying to keep him off the board here in the 7th.
Brandon Phillips does not want to walk in this situation. He wants to drive those 2 runners in, and James Russell could spot the ball correctly. He could get him to chase something out of the zone right here. Seems to be set up either for a high fastball or another breaking ball down and in. You can see they've tried to crowd him from the middle of the plate in so far in this at bat.
It is very obvious that Brandon Phillips is not 100%. You saw him kind of limp out of the box there. The left hammy continuing to bother him. Back in the lineup today. Harris got the start yesterday. Another 2-2 pitch. Foul.
I mentioned the first pitch of the sequence was a straight changeup that was called a ball low. It'd be a devastating pitch right now. If James Russell could throw another changeup on the outside part of the plate fading away, you can see everything has been from the middle of the plate in so far in this sequence to Phillips, and he is definitely in swing mode up there right now. Good fadeaway changeup off of that outside corner would probably get a swing and a miss. However, that's James Russell's 3rd best pitch. You really don't want to get beat with your 3rd best pitch.
Ninth pitch of the at-bat, and a fly ball right field. Right down along the line. DeJesus will make the catch. Stretch time with Dan Patrick.
Onto the ball game. Popular radio personality and broadcaster Dan Patrick with the Denettes.
All right, Cub fans, I need to hear you. For Harry Carey, for Ronnie Santo, and the hope that Lee Smith makes it into the Baseball Hall of Fame one day. A 1, a 2, a 3. Take me out to the ball game. Take me out to the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jacks. I don't care if I ever get back. Well, let's root for the. If they don't win, it's a shame. For it's oh, ball game.
now in to play second for Brandon Phillips. Alfredo Simon is now pitching as James Russell worked out of a major jam in the top of this 7th inning. 6th appearance for Simon. And the man of all media platforms, Dan Patrick, in the booth with us. How are you, Dan? Nice job with the stretch today.
It's nice winter afternoon here. This is good. This is as chilly as Brenly's batting average.
Now here we go.
I'm old enough to have done your highlights on SportsCenter, Bob.
Check out the first pitch today as we look at our AT&T Uverse replay of the game. See what's possible with AT&T Uverse high-speed internet. AT&T rethink possible. I guess it was a strike.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah. Isn't it always a strike?
Always a thrill to throw a pitch off the mound here at Wrigley Field.
Well, you gotta climb Everest. You can't go in front. And I heard from John Smoltz, who said you can't be soft.
He'll get no outs as Rolen flipped it over Valdez. It's not been a particularly sharp defensive day for either team today.
That started yesterday, a 5 combined total errors between the two clubs yesterday. It's just odd to see Scott Rolen ever make a bad throw or toss in this case.
So 2 on with nobody out, and it's Brian LaHare. So Dan, you've been able to hand out the Super Bowl trophy a couple of times. That's another one where you feel like you're climbing Everest, huh?
Well, when you realize there's 100 million people watching that, and all I wanted to do was make sure the microphone worked, but you can't go check 1, 2 in front of 100 million people, so you just pray to God there's some guy in some part of the stadium who's turned on your microphone. But that's been the highlight so far of my career. Going to host the Olympics this summer with Bob Costas and Al Michaels, so moving up the food chain there, doing some fun things.
You've been so good and so knowledgeable with all sports. Is there one in particular that you love the most?
I love a good storyline. I think it's probably because you can always tell that. So if you have a great series, if you have a great game, you have that. But I grew up a baseball fan. I grew up in Cincinnati. I grew up with the Big Red Machine. Got spoiled early. When I looked out and I go, wait, we had Hall of Famers at every position back then. And now you look at, you could never have that team assembled again in Cincinnati. At least not for a long period of time. But we were very fortunate there. That's probably the best National League lineup in history, in my opinion.
This is not the first time you have done the stretch here at Wrigley Field, and the windows were closed, so you decided to.
Yeah, I don't know what that. I have no idea what I was doing that day. Yeah, you kids don't try that at home or at Wrigley either.
Please.
Yeah, that was. Yeah, that one didn't go over well at home. My wife went, "What were you thinking?" I said, I wasn't.
Obviously not. Yeah.
I stopped at Murphy's, and I stopped over here to sing the stretch. It's already tough enough to sing it. Degree of difficulty, I added to it there.
Right.
Yeah, not good.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, a Cincinnati boy, how'd you end up at the University of Dayton? How'd you end up a Flyer?
My dad worked there in computer science. All 6 of my brothers and sisters went there, and I couldn't get in any other school. Maybe I should have started with that, Bob. A great school, and a lot of people from Chicago. Matter of fact, Dayton grads. A lot of people today seeing them. A lot of Dayton grads there. A lot of Reds fans here today, too. You can see the red sort of sprinkled around. Dusty Baker gave me grief. He goes, "Why aren't you wearing Cincinnati red?" I said, "Why aren't you wearing Chicago Cub blue?" And he goes, "Well, they didn't want me anymore." I said, "Well, if the Reds invite me back, I'll wear red." But this is one of my favorite ballparks. It's a magical place. I would prefer the Cubs were better, but talking to your owner, I think you got the right guy in charge there. So hopefully progress very soon.
Strike on Stewart, and it's 3-1.
Now, if you could get into University of Dayton, I guarantee you could have gotten into Ohio U.
Well, you were a Bobcat?
Yeah, you might have been valedictorian.
Well, if you graduate, you're valedictorian. Isn't that how it works there?
Yeah.
You and Mike Schmidt at Ohio U.
Former Cub Steve Swisher.
Oh, there you go.
Daddy and Nick Swisher. Yeah.
There you go.
There's a few of us. And I know University of Dayton. Irma Bombeck.
Yeah. John Gruden.
Craig Stamen from the Washington Nationals. Relief pitcher.
Okay. Chuck Knoll.
Yeah.
We got a couple of people in there.
Just trying to add on to their 4-run lead here in the bottom of the 7th with Dan Patrick in the booth. As Stewart pops it up. Cozart will make the catch. Infield fly rule in effect. Dan, you probably don't remember this, but long ago when I was covering Marquette basketball, I mean, we're talking probably 20 years ago, I remember sitting with you talking, and you could not have been nicer. Everything I've read about you, talking to people, you're one of the nicest guys in the business, and to have accomplished what you have and to have nobody say anything bad about you is rare. So congrats, sir.
I have a family that my parents taught me well, because one day this all ends, and I've been very fortunate. Very fortunate.
Toward right, it'll get in for a base hit. Steve Clevenger has had quite a day. He's going to be out at first, but the run will count as Barney scored. Dan Patrick, thanks for stopping by. Great job with the stretch today.
Thank you, guys. Good to see you
Going,
guys.
Dan.
Thank
Great
you,
to see
man.
you.
Change. I never dreamed out easily. For now I'm just the shadow of the boy I used to be. Oh yeah.
That's When I Write the Book by Rockpile, led by Nick Lowe. Played Park West last night. That's our Bud Fan Cam, brought to you by Budweiser. Great times are waiting. Grab some buds.
A great power pop band. Dave Edmonds, Nick Lowe, and the gang way back when. Rafael Dolis as the Cubs lead 6-1. Steve Clevenger with 3 hits today. Darwin Barney, 3 hits, 2 runs. Starlin Castro, triple and a double to make up for 2 errors. Each team with a couple in this game. 5 combined yesterday. 9 errors so far in this series. Up and in on Ludwig, and this is what Dolis has to get over. Got to throw strikes. He's got great stuff. Check out the new Audi Legends Suite on the Nuveen Investment Suite level. Watch the game with a former Cub and listen to classic stories about life as a Cub. With a luxury food and beverage package and a unique gift for each guest, the Audi Legends Suite is the most exclusive way to watch a Cubs game. For more info, visit Cubs.com/suites. It's a leadoff walk.
It's one of the things that can be extremely frustrating about a young pitcher like Dolis. He's got great stuff, heavy sinking fastball, sharp late breaking slider. He just can't consistently find a release point to get into that zone. Now the good news is when he does throw it over the plate with that downward movement, he usually gets ground balls. I mentioned it the other day. Occasionally he'll pitch himself into trouble, but with that heavy sinker he can get himself out of trouble with one ground ball.
I see Scott Rowland basically make no effort to get out of the way. He recognizes the situation. His team's down 5. If that pitch hits him, he's right into the Reds' hands. They want base runners.
Shane Victorino for the Phillies tried that yesterday. Didn't get out of the way. Actually moved into an inside pitch. Got hit. Tried to go to first base. The umpire made him come back and finish the at bat, and he hit a home run.
Camp and Maine are up in the bullpen just in case. And it's 2-2 on Rowland. Pitch off the inside corner, 3-2. Brad Lidge gave it up today. Could not protect a 2-0 lead in the 9th. The Marlins have tied it. 2-2. They're still batting. Barney will come in. They'll get 1. No relay throw.
That ground ball we're talking about. Heavy sinker on the outside corner. Rowland just pounds it into the ground to the right side. Ludwig kind of stopped right there before getting to second base to avoid a potential tag. So Darwin Barney just shoveled onto Castro to get the easy force at second.
Brings up Chris Heisey, who looks at a strike. The Mets have a 4-1 lead over the Giants in the bottom of the 8th. Mike Pelfrey has gone the distance to this point for the Mets, who lost 4-3 to the Giants in 10 last night. 0-2.
Get off me, ball. Start to swing, and then you see that late movement takes it way off the inside corner. It was almost a self-defense swing that time by Heisey.
Texas leading Detroit 9-4 in the bottom of the 8th. 8 runs in the first for the Rangers off Rick Porcello. Two and 2. Off the slider. So a full count. Another ground ball. Castro will step on second, throw to first, not in time.
That was one of those tweeners, Len. Starlin didn't know whether to take it himself or flip to Darwin Barney. I don't know either way if it makes a huge amount of difference. Heisey runs pretty well. Slowly hit ball. A couple of extra steps by Castro. Gives the Reds right fielder just enough time to leg it out at first base.
There's a Rocco. Ground ball foul and a diving stop. Who's that man? Lendy Castillo. Nicely done, sir.
Protect those bullpen catchers. They have their back turned to home plate. Nice play, Lendy.
Stewart with a nice pick. They'll get the out at second. So the leadoff walk does not hurt. Rafael Dolis, 6-1 Cubs.
It came back in the second inning when the Cubs pushed across four runs, rather. The fourth one scoring on this triple off the wall by Starlin Castro. Second time in 2 days he hit a ball that should have left the park, other than the wind blowing straight in from left field. Get to a Nissan dealer for great deals on innovation you can count on. Innovation for all.
Carlos Marmol getting ready for a non-save appearance with his team up 5 at least. Reed Johnson batting in the pitcher's spot. Simon's second inning of work. Fair ball rolled in the left. A bounce off the sidewall. Ludwig will collect it, and it's a double.
Johnson with a nice quick swing on a pitch down and in. Shoots it past Scott Rowland. No question Reed Johnson will get his share of starts in the outfield over the course of the season, but his main value to the ball club this year is going to be doing just what he did right there. Up in big pinch hit situations, either with runners on base or leading off an inning, and try to get the offense jump started.
Bunted by Mather. Simon will just pick it up and put it in his pocket. Joe Mather with a perfect bunt. He was trying to move that runner up, but he picks up a base hit out of it.
Funny how when you try to do the right thing, good things happen. Alfredo Simon took a real shallow line coming off the mound, actually ran past that ball, has to retreat back towards shortstop by the time he gets to it. No play on Mather at first base.
First career bunt hit for Mather. We know Campana, one of the best bunters in the business, as he digs in, having singled as a pinch hitter in the 6th, infield in. Swing and a miss.
If the score were closer, this has a feel of one of those possible safety squeeze bunts. With a 5-run lead, Dale Swaim electing to let Tony Campana swing away, at least on the first delivery.
Foul and out of play. Campana strikes out. Follow the Cubs with the MLB.com @Bat12 app for your iPhone, iPad, Android, and Windows Mobile. Get live audio, pitch tracking, video highlights, and more. Text @Bat to 31826 or visit Cubs.com for details. Strike one on DeJesus. Alfredo Simon is claimed off waivers from Baltimore 2 days before opening day. 16 starts, 7 relief appearances for the Orioles in 2011. Originally signed by the Phillies. One ball and 2 strikes. A.J. Burnett will make his Pirates debut later tonight versus St. Louis. He comes off the DL. He went back from a right orbital fracture. Shallow center, Stubbs in, and it's going to be the shortstop, Cozart. 2 down.
Talking about A.J. Burnett making the start for the Pirates tonight. How about that pitching staff? Team ERA of 2.73, third in the National League going into play today. However, their offense is hovering at that Mendoza line. They were hitting .201 as a team going into play tonight.
Pirates are 5-8. Cardinals off to a 10-4 start and beginning play today, a 4-game lead already in the division. Darwin Barney with a 3-hit afternoon. Multiple hit games have been pretty common for Darwin. Oh! And that hit him in a helmet. You could hear it clearly as he'll head on down to first. Oof.
Fortunately, it was a breaking ball. Unfortunately, Darwin was turning his head as that ball made contact with the helmet. Turning away and ducking down to get out of the way of that pitch up and in. Did it exactly the right way. Minimized the damage. Looks like he's okay.
Like he told Simon, I'm all right.
Showed you that graphic. Darwin Barney second only to Brandon Phillips among second basemen in multi-hit games. I started to say earlier in the ball game when Darwin got on second base and was talking to Brandon Phillips last year in Cincinnati, he was telling us how much he respected Brandon Phillips and modeled his game after the Reds second baseman. Last year Brandon Phillips was a guy he looked up to. This year he's a peer.
Roland played that big hop at the end pretty well and gets the out at second. They leave him loaded. Marmol on for the ninth. Cubs leading by 5. Leading 6-1. And the closer Carlos Marmol with a comfortable 5-run lead. Which have tied their season high. Rather, that is their season high in hits. Previous high was 13 on April 12th versus Milwaukee. Wilson Valdez, 1-1. His first at bat, he came into play second in the 7th.
Carlos Marmol, last pitched on Thursday in Miami, a scoreless 8th inning. That was the first time he'd pitched for 6 days. Gave up 3 runs in his first 2 outings of the season, but has since recorded 4 consecutive scoreless relief appearances.
A 1-2 swing and a miss on a slider.
That is nasty. A lot of downward movement on that pitch. It's usually how you can tell when a guy has his arm in the proper slot to throw that slider. You see a lot more downward movement. If his arm is too low or his hand is around the ball, that slider will be flat, breaking horizontally across the plate. That time almost went straight down. Just watch the movement. There you see the arm slot. Always been low 3/4. It's more with his hand position on the baseball than his arm slot determining what kind of break he'll get on that slider.
Stubbs waits on deck. Slider strike to make it 2-2.
Behind in the count. This is a little flatter. This is more of a get me over the plate for a strike slider. A little more horizontal movement, not so much of that downward break. That's the one he wants to get the swing and a miss with right there.
Infield pop and over in foul ground. LaHare 2 away. Strike. Paid crowd today 38,405. Cubs have led since the 2nd inning. 1-1. Fly to right. David DeJesus battling the sun. Makes a catch. Cubs win. Cubs win. They snap a 6-game losing streak and beat the Reds 6-1. Cubs catcher Steve Clevenger, 3 hits today and caught a beauty, is on the field with us. Steve, congrats, and I know everyone's happy to get this win, and hopefully the Cubs now can get on a roll.
You know, we hit the ball good. You know, we just didn't lose it. You know, Paul threw the ball good, and everybody out of pen threw the ball good. Your
manager called your swing slump-proof. I don't know if it feels that way, but you've hit everywhere you've been.
Yeah, you know, I just try not to do too much. You know, I go out there and just try to put the ball in play, make things happen. You know, and
oh my!
So you know,
okay, then.
I just try to make things happen. You know, you can't try to do too much out there.
Bob's got one question for you. We'll let you go warm up.
Yeah, hey, Paul Maholm, great job working with him today. It seemed like you guys really did a nice job of mixing in all of his pitches. He was changing speeds extremely well early in the game.
Oh, definitely. You know, he had everything working today. You know, when you keep hitters off balance, you throw in and out. You know, it'll be a good day.
Steve, congratulations. Nice job today.
Thank you, guys.
All right, that's Steve Clevenger, who got a cold shower there. And hopefully a warm one coming up. Cubs 6, Reds 1, the final.